Welcome everybody to Funeral Nation episode 263. I'm your host, Ryan Thogmartin. That is Jeff, the Funeral Commander Harbeson, and we have a special co-host today. This is actually the first time in Funeral Nation history that we have had a co-host. We've had people on that we have interviewed, but we have never given the designation of a co-host. John Heald, my friend with Legacy, is our very first co-host. John, introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is official on my end. This is the first time I've ever been a co-host. So given the fact that I live in the world of obituaries, I guess I can add another line to my own.
So, yeah. Hey,
so
you just made $200,000 more.
No, we've got a free option for you, Jeff. But I am John Heald, and the general manager of the funeral home channel at Legacy. And what does that mean? I don't know. I oversee everything funeral home related within our company, and also a funeral director by trade, and still involved. And just excited to be here and to be your first co-host, maybe of many, but I get to say I'm first.
You are number one, and man, I'll tell you what, you're number one in the hearts of a lot of people in this profession as well. So you and I go back, Jiminy Christmas. I was young. We both were a lot younger. At least a decade. We go back at least 10 years. We broke bread in Ohio a couple times and Chicago way back in the day. And you've been a friend and a supporter, and just honestly, like, I'm honored, and I know Jeff is as well, to have you as the first co-host with us, simply because of just who you are as a person, but also in the space. You are loved and liked by many. So thanks for being with us today.
Wow, you're making me feel all warm and fuzzy. So thank you.
That's good. It's good.
Look, I'm one of the many Funeral Nation followers, so I watch them faithfully. I wait for the next ones to come out, and I may pass on watching this one when it does, because I don't like to do that stuff. But
hey,
I'm glad you're back in the saddle.
You can pass on watching it. Just make sure you share it. That'll help. You gotta share it.
Hey, John, the problem.
I think I have a big enough site where we can do that.
Yeah, you do.
The problem you're going to have, John, is listening to yourself. First time I heard myself, I didn't know that I spoke cornbread, and it was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I struggle with it, so I will. I'll share it quite a bit.
Let's go. Awesome.
Good to have you, friend.
The rocket fuel that makes this show happen is our friends at C&J Financial, Jeff, Jamie, the whole crew, Rob, all the people in the office that we don't see. That's probably the real power. But we got a quick little promo. Let's roll that.
We may be the largest insurance assignment company in the funeral profession, but that doesn't mean we've lost touch with our roots. Here in Rainbow City, Alabama, our priorities still come down to a welcoming smile and a handshake that says we keep our promises. With all the tools and technologies that assure blazing fast turnaround, what really matters is much more old school. Personal responsibility, integrity, relationships, and the pride that comes from hearing yet another client say, "You came through for us when it mattered." C&J eliminates the challenges that funeral homes have in processing insurance death claims. If cash flow is vital to your business, welcome home.
All right, John. You and I have spent more time together at the beginning of 2024 than we've probably spent together in a couple years in person. We're connected online and on the phone quite a bit, but in person. So you spent a couple days out here with our team going through some strategy stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about, guide us on 2023 overview, death care, and then what you see going forward into 2024.
First of all, I questioned when I was there why I don't live in Scottsdale full time, but I'm fortunate. Boston's a beautiful place. It's interesting as we look at the first month here in 2024, what happened in 2023, and like what were some of the big things that take place, and you guys break news and share it as best as anyone. And I just stepped back and I looked at what I thought was like some of the bigger stuff, like the Batesville acquisition, right? And
Mm-hmm.
a private equity firm looking at a manufacturer and seeing opportunity. Real fascinating to me, but more fascinating as to what's to come. So I think that the continued consolidation, maybe at a slower pace, but the right firms for the right consolidator are going to continue to make all the sense in the world. They've got the financial means in which to do it, so they'll get the deals done. I also think the smaller consolidators are going to start to play in a more meaningful role because for a number of reasons. But it's been interesting to watch some of the newer consolidators rise up. And then the ones that are here, that they're really adding rooftops and locations. On the supply side, a lot of activity has happened, right? There's been and continues to be a lot of noise and perhaps confusion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of my job last year was to try and straighten out some of that confusion. But we're going to do it this year, and we're going to do it loud and proud, and we're going to start making that noise go away. So that's selfishly my focus, but just continue to watch this space evolve. Supplier, consolidator, independence. It's just a really exciting time to be in the world of funeral service.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It is exciting. And I think consolidation and acquisitions has been a theme of this show. I don't know that when Jeff and I started in 2015, we would have thought that, like, I feel like every week there's something new that from an acquisition standpoint that we've talked about. And it's kind of been this overarching thing. But what we're seeing more of is the private equity money that's coming into the space. Do you see that? Obviously we don't have a crystal ball, but do you see that continuing at scale?
Absolutely. Right. We know there is so much money on the sidelines. We know that there's interest in this profession. The challenge is, how do they get into it? Who do they get into it with? Or if they do acquire, who is that target? Right. And so I think anyone and everyone is part of that conversation. But now it's just a matter of, which channel are they going to play in? And we know they have the money. Do they have the patience to stay in this? Because I am just, having been at this a couple of times, patience is probably the number one thing that these companies need.
Yeah, it's so good. When I talk to companies that are getting into the space on the supplier side, which is, I mean, weekly, and I'm having more conversations with companies that are established in other countries and other funeral markets going, okay, now our eyeballs are on the US market because obviously this is the big animal and they want to get involved. And the question becomes about funding and runway capital and all the things. And I always say, if you don't have 24 to 36 months of capital to just be able to operate without a lot of business, then don't even try, because patience is going to have to be there, but there's going to have to be the capital to be able to go acquire the attention. Change isn't easy. Switching suppliers isn't easy. So, you're exactly right. Patience is a virtue of the strong, or somebody told me that.
Let me ask you this, guys, because you've got a pulse on it as well. The one thing that I notice is that the desire and ability to change suppliers has been more active than it has in the past.
Yeah, John, that's a great observation. I think that since technology has grown, it's expanded the view of what's available. Competitively, there's reps. This is still a real old school profession. That there's people who are reps that call on people. Outside of medical, I don't know a lot of that's going on. They're using in-house type methods or this sort of possibility to talk with each other. They don't have people showing up and going to lunch and that sort of thing. So we're still in a weird way a little bit archaic for a good thing, right? Because we're a relationship business and the reps have a strong relationship with their vendors. However, I think what you just said, I've seen people easier to switch because I think that they're educated
Yep.
and they don't have to go to a show to check someone else out. They can do it here or, in another space.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the change is happening faster, but I think one of the beautiful things is that it's relationship driven. You get multiple at bats. It's not, you force a funeral director to change suppliers. Number of things need to happen, which I think is good, but also that's where that runway comes into play and building a relationship. And we talked about, John, while you were here, best known is better than best, and that applies to suppliers as well. When you're best known, now you can grab attention, you can prove that you're the best. So yeah, there is change is happening faster, and that's a good thing. And I think that's a mix of funeral director too. You're seeing more of a younger funeral director start to move their way up, and they want to shake things up. They want to, they grew up with devices in their hand, so they want to shake things up and be relevant, which
Well, to
is
think that
which is good.
your client prospect meetings or existing client meetings now can occur regularly over Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
that AI is actually used more frequently than we would have ever imagined in this
Mm-hmm.
space, whether we're still trying to learn about it and how does it fit our business, or it's implemented in the process of some funeral homes right now. But it's like the conversations are much different.
Yeah.
But I think it's because guys like you and others have been doing a good job helping educate and give
Mm-hmm.
owners some resources in which to look at.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I would agree with you, and so I want to address that on education. Like, obviously, we're very vocal from a disrupt standpoint on educating around social. There's a handful of companies that are extremely vocal in just the education. I think it's important that funeral directors get education from the right sources and truthful education. And I want to address kind of an elephant in the room. So yes, you're with Legacy, and we're going to talk about that real quick. And so if you don't want to answer, you can step away. But the question is, there is confusion around data, and there's confusion around Legacy and sharing data and it, stealing this, stealing that. Like that is the narrative that, and the confusion I think you're addressing and really going to address heavily this year, because I got a peek under the hood at Legacy, so to speak, in what you're building for funeral professionals that is unbelievably valuable. And I even said to you when we were together, I'm like, John, look, the only reason I've had faith in Legacy is because of you. Period. And I'm comfortable saying that. I trust you, and I know that there's value if you're attached, but I'm like, you really got to bring it. And I walked away from 12 hours with you locked in a room where we went deep, and I'm like, yeah, this is insanely valuable for funeral homes. So let's just address it. How does Legacy handle the data and all the things? Like, let's go.
Yeah. So I will never run and hide. I'm always open and willing to have a conversation and share that. And that's probably one of the hardest parts of my job, is the ability to have enough conversations so that if someone's getting information from a source that may be the trusted advisor because that's who they know,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not the right information, I would just challenge them to come at me and ask me any questions that you're not sure of. And I think the often thing that happens is that once they have the time, they spent it and they learn, they're going, you're not who I thought you were.
Mm-hmm.
But just to take a step back, Legacy around since 1998, right? We're a very, very old startup. And I'm talking startup. We act, behave, everything like it. So it's invigorating. It's fun to be around. And while Stouffer, who is the founder and is now our chairman, is not the CEO, he's as active as he's ever been. But we're led with an executive management team that has really looked at this space and says, you know what? We do have a lot of data. What is this data that we have that can help our funeral home clients learn more about their business? Or perhaps their other business. And I say that's a little bit misleading. We have the ability for a funeral home to tell me, here are my competitors. what's their call volume? Like, I know this because when we had a funeral home, every funeral home tracks their competitor's call volume. The way in which they do it is all over the map. So we can do it for you. But look, we've taken strides to really pinpoint what we think is valuable that will help funeral homes. Traffic, right? We get the misinformation out there is that we're stealing traffic, and really, it's a small group that's spreading this information, but
Mhm.
it is what it is. So the traffic, I know with what we've done and what we're putting in the market right now, we'll increase your traffic 10% all day long, and we'll prove it to you month over month. Flowers, we will give you 100% control of your flowers in our new program. Like, you want them to go to your store, go to your store. We'll give you a dashboard to look at analytics. You want to see data? The curtains are open. Come in and look and see that we can show you on a monthly basis what's happening with your brand on our site. And then we just have to continue to be held accountable. It's as simple as that. But look, we haven't historically done that, right? So we have done and made really good changes. Look, we didn't have an offering in funeral service for the most part. We had product here or there, but we launched Legacy Pro 2 years ago. We have 9,000 funeral homes that have said, I want to be a part of Legacy Pro. So I think we're doing something right. But now we want to give them another opportunity to say, this is the next level of how I work with you.
Mhm.
Have at it. So the noise will continue. We're just not going to allow it to continue the way it has, but we're going to tell our story.
Yeah, good.
Mediums like what you guys are doing and a whole lot more. So I'm a kid in a candy store, ready for 2024, and going to make some noise.
Good.
It's so
That's
cool
exciting.
because
You know, John, I have a question as you were going through that process. As a former owner, having analytics and intel, I like to call it from my old days, having intel about your market, where people are coming from, where they're going, is invaluable. And I would see that, frankly, as part, and I'm sure Ryan, you know, the marketing pie is got lots of slices in it. That has to be part of a marketing budget pie just for Intel.
Yeah. Look, again, we have enough data to make someone's head spin.
Yeah.
And for some operators, that's great. They want more. For some, it's like, just give me the high level, tidbits of, is it working? Is it not? I encourage them to share it with their web provider, because look, they're getting analytics for their website. I think what we do is just provide a complement to the complete ecosystem as it relates to obits. So we are an absolute complement or supplement to whomever your website provider is. And we can address the concerns, if they are around traffic and flowers, extremely easily. Where in the past we may not have, but let's go. 2024 is here.
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be transparent. It's the only way I know how to be. Like, I walked into our meeting going, okay, I have this perception of the big mega empire, and I walked out going, wow, Legacy really cares about the funeral home. They really care about the funeral director. They really care about what they can do best for the funeral home. The amount of intel that you can give them that they can leverage to understand their business better and how to better serve their community is insane. And I also walked away going, wow, Legacy is really, really small. They're not this big, massive, like, entity. Like, it's a very small team that is passionate. It was just, it was cool. So thank you for the transparency on that. It's the question I get asked all the time. And now I have an understanding.
Yeah. And I just want everyone to know that I'm an open book. I'm a funeral director. What we will do is for funeral homes, right? I'm a funeral home first guy, right? And so I have to carry that torch within the four square walls of Legacy. We're a small company but we're doing it, and we're doing it well. So it was great to spend time to have someone who's been in the space for so long to really start to peel back the layers and go, oh my God, like, you guys do a lot.
Well, I mean, look, whenever we work with a brand on strategy, like, my team comes loaded with an Uzi. Like, our job is to shoot as many holes in it as we can, and we hit a bulletproof vest, man. It was good. It was good. So
Still standing.
Well, it's
yeah, yeah.
exciting. John, something you just said, I'd like to sort of, I guess, help you out a little bit too. That, people that don't know you are now being introduced to you today. The people that are out there that know John, if you have a question, pick up the phone and call him. I mean, funeral director, been a funeral home, you're part of a funeral home management with, you get it. And I think that if someone, I've seen this, I've actually had it happen in the last couple of weeks on Facebook where someone was kind of challenging, conversation went on through. I said, hey, inbox me. And as soon as he did, I said, can I call you right now? Let's just talk. I said, because I don't want to be public if you and I really end up disagreeing. And two, I think we're going to find out we're closer on this subject than you think we are.
Yeah.
And so
All
I'm
you
just saying,
need in one is the opportunity, Jeff. Right?
yeah, yeah. And so, folks out there, if you have an issue or a question, pick up the phone and call John.
Yeah.
He's readily available, easy guy to get along with, and hits a long drive.
Hey, just don't hold the Boston thing against me, right?
All right,
It's okay.
I got a couple fun questions to ask you, John. Just random, quick questions. Number one, your dream golf foursome.
Wow.
Wow.
Coming off the heels of just playing golf with some really great people, but they were just my close friends.
Yeah, tread
Yeah,
lightly
you know
here.
what? This is
Remember.
interesting. So I love Bryan Cranston, the actor. Okay.
Okay.
My God, one of my favorite golfers is Freddie Couples.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
And then just for like to be political, I don't know. I would have loved to have played golf with John F. Kennedy. Right,
Oh,
I'm a
that would
Boston
be
guy.
awesome.
He's a
Yeah.
Hyannisport. We may not vote similarly, but I just got done reading the book Babylon by an author up here in Boston that talked all about the Kennedy family and the power. So I would love to have him as the fourth, maybe.
That
I
would
love
be
it.
cool.
I love it. That's
Great
cool.
answer, John.
Very good. Very good. All right. You get to write one sentence or one word in the sky. What do you write?
Cared.
That's good. That's good. All right. And then if you could pick, because you have traveled, you've traveled all over the country, the world. One meal, like your absolute favorite meal, what would it be?
It's funny because I'm Irish by origin, but I
Hey,
just
don't say fried potatoes.
no. But I love a good chicken parm. Like it's just a good, like you can't go wrong. Steady, like
Comfort.
it's comfort, and I gotta go chicken parm. Like I don't
Wow.
know, it's not fancy, but it's what you're getting.
I love it. I love it. Okay, folks, there you go. John Heald, legacy. You got to know him a little bit. You know he loves some chicken parm. He's a golfer, Boston. He cares. Just all around good guy, man. Thank you for being the first co-host of the Funeral Nation TV show.
Well, I will wear that badge proudly, and I thank you guys for what you're doing and continue to do it, and looking forward to seeing maybe perhaps who the next co-host or what you guys have in store. But keep up the great work.
Appreciate it,
We're
John.
always effing going to be around.
That's right.
There you go. All right. Until next time, have a great effing week.
Out, everyone.